Well, it's a little too rough to dive today. This is the power of the ocean. Check that swell out. It's a nice sunny day. But it's no diving today. The Viz line is way out there now. We're probably gonna whip, I think. We're looking for where we're gonna go. I think because of the Viz, we're probably gonna go to those far cliffs over there. That'll probably be the safest. Thinking of looking at that point right there, but I don't know. That, yeah, I think the big swells will bury that. Yeah, so we're gonna head up to those cliffs over there. Do some whipping, see if we get lucky. See you on the rocks. Well, I just filled in a hole. Got my leg out. Got some cuts there. Cut there. You can check that hole out. Just stepped on that rock. The rock went right through. The dangers of the lava. There's the hole. So we made it to the cliff. Probably gonna fish right around that area. So this is where we came from. Way back there. Walked across there. Climbed up right there. Fill in the hole right there. Time to get to fishing.
So we found our spot on the cliff, as close to the edge as we could get without falling off the cliff or getting doused by the waves, since the waves were crashing over the top of the cliff earlier. So if you've fished on the cliff before, you know that you have to throw as far as you can to make up for the distance between the ocean and the top of the cliff. So since it was a calm day, no wind, hardly any wind, it was easier to cast out. So I was feeling a little bit of bites, so I was trying to hook up, but didn't get anything. When I reeled in my line, the bait was gone, so which is a good sign. So I just had to rebait my line and throw it back out. I carry around that little bag of cut up squid, which I use for bait, so I don't have to keep going back and forth to get the squid. So here I cast it out to about the same place since I was getting some bites, and this time I'm letting my lead drop to the bottom and letting the bait kind of float around for a while. I felt a bite there and then it was gone, so I let it drop back down and waited for something to snatch it up. So here I hooked up there, and something is really heavy on the line, and I'm very hopeful that it's something big enough to take home for dinner. So as I'm reeling there, all of a sudden when I was pulling it in, it started just running away from me. My line was going out like crazy. So I was a little bit worried that I would get spooled because I only have a small reel, a 4000, I think it is. So as you can see from my pull, it's still running. It's still going. And now I'm a lot worried that it's going to take all my line. But just as quickly as it started running, I started being able to pull it in. So it was still like really heavy on the line, but it wasn't running anymore. And that was a little strange. So I'm just trying to reel it in without losing it. So there you see, now I can freely move it towards me, reeling it in. And it still does feel heavy, so I'm hopeful. So I'm getting excited as it gets in closer. That maybe it's something really good. So as I'm bringing it in closer, I'm looking for color. And I can kind of see it, but not quite yet. And then as I bring it right by the rocks, I see it. And so I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get it up onto the cliff. So I try to reel it as close as I can, and then I have to lift it all the way up. You can see how high I have to lift it. But luckily I got it onto the rock.
Oh, looks like somebody bit this.
I felt it go like, "Woo!" Did you hear it?
Yeah.
Did you hear it? Something just took it and ran. But then I guess it let go.
Well, this is a big Moano, so whatever took it must have been big. Big Roy, big Papio.
If you didn't hear what we were saying there, I'm saying that something took the Moano and just ran, and I wasn't sure exactly what it was, but whatever it was that grabbed it must have been pretty big, because that Moano is pretty big, and the scales on both sides were gone.
Wow, it's almost scaled.
Yeah, all over here is no scale.
You make your fingers like that. So that's a big Moano, so whatever grabbed that thing was pretty big. Cool.
So after catching the big Moano, I'm hoping to catch another one. So I'm casting to the same area. Of course, I can only hope. So there again, I'm letting my line drop to the bottom and reeling it in. Felt like there was something there, but when I pulled it up, nothing. Pulled back. So I let it drop again, and again I felt it. So I pulled up, trying to hook it, and I do have something there, but it just stopped. So, and it feels like it's stuck, so I'm just waiting. And there it goes. So I'm reeling it in, hoping to see what it is. I can tell it's not as big as the Moano, but feels like something pretty good. And lo and behold, it's a blue line snapper, or ta'ape.
Oh, good size one.
The ta'ape is an invasive species in Hawaii, so we kept him. After many casts with no results, this is my last cast of the day before we packed up to go home. It was a lucky day of fishing anyways. So I'm actually casting in a new area, a different area, just to try my luck. So again, I'm letting my lead go down to the bottom and just waiting for something to bite. But I feel like my line is stuck, so I try to give it a few pulls. Sometimes that dislodges the line or the hook or the lead, but it didn't seem like it came out. So I'm going to try to break the line. So I reel it in as much as possible and then start walking back, trying to break it, but it doesn't break. I'm wondering why, but I'm going to try again. So I'm reeling it in again, making the line tight, making my drag tighter, and trying to pull the line so it's really tight. So then I'm walking back again and walking back and still walking back. And the line is it's so weird because it just keeps following me. And I'm holding the reel too. Oh, and I just realized I got something on the line. So something is actually on the line. So I'm walking down, trying not to fall as I'm fighting the fish. The fish is giving me a really good fight. I mean, it is pulling. It feels really heavy and it's pulling a lot. As you can see from my rod, I'm trying to bring it in, but it's really heavy and doesn't seem to want to come in, of course. But I'm trying my best to pull it in, and as I'm reeling it in, it just all of a sudden felt like it was stuck again. So I'm kind of trying to hold it as tight as possible with the line really taut. And in the meantime, I'm thinking, oh no, I hope it didn't dive under a rock. So it's really stuck. But I figured, well, if I keep the line taut, I'm thinking the hook won't come out of its mouth because I tried to break the line and it didn't come out of its mouth. So it's a good chance it's still there. It's just trying to wedge itself probably in a rock or in a hole so that the line is cut, but we'll see. So I'm trying to be patient, waiting until it makes a move. Every time it makes a move, I'm going to try to pull it up and out of wherever it is. So I'm testing it, trying to pull it out. Sometimes you can you can pull it out, but this one is a stubborn one. So I'm just waiting, trying to play the waiting game, him against me. And we'll see how it goes. I'm trying to look into the water to see where my line goes, whereabouts he's at, or where he's in the rock. And it's fairly close. So I'm hoping he doesn't just dive underneath the cliff and really get my line tangled. But I can feel movement, so he's still there. And he's close. And he starts running. There he goes. Still fighting, still fighting. I'm trying to bring him in closer and closer. Now that he's out of the hole, I can try to bring him in. So I'm pulling him closer and trying to see color. And it's a heavy fish. It's a hard one. I'm still fighting. Still fighting. I'm trying to bring it in with when the waves start coming in. So that's easier to pull since it's so heavy. Right now I have him in pretty close, but not close enough to lift him up. So I'm trying to bring him in closer.
Try come this way where it's lower.
At that time I was just focused on bringing him in closer and not cutting my line. I was scared that it would just snap off because he is quite heavy. So I'm moving down closer to the edge to try to maneuver him up. So I'm reeling as much line as I can in, and then I gotta lift him up now. So it's so heavy that I have to lift it over my head, and it's like wavering, you can see. And so I get him right on the edge of the rocks. Oh, that was a good fight. So as I'm lifting him up, I'm looking at it and thinking, what kind of fish is this?
Huge one. No, Humu. Triggerfish. Triggerfish. Big one. The gray triggerfish.
Never caught one before, and it was a great battle for the last cast of the day. I told him he was a good fighter before I threw him back. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Aloha.